Hi everybody, Mark Moorhead here at the Hall of Flame Museum of Firefighting in Phoenix, Arizona. We are the world's largest historical firefighting museum. I'm the curator of education, and if you can't come into the museum, we'll bring the museum to you. Today, we're in Gallery 2, which is sort of the fire trucks from the first half of the 20th century. Sort of starting, our earliest fire truck in here that was actually built to be a fire truck was from, well, really, there's the big tower we have that's from 1897. It was turned into a motorized rig in 1909. We have a fire truck from Peru from 1913. And then we work our way up, and kind of probably the youngest truck, I think, in this gallery is 1951, and it's an American LaFrance from Miami, Arizona, and it's the one that the kids can climb on. But something that a lot of people notice if they come into the museum is that we have trucks from all over the world, all over the country, but even some from other countries. We don't have a whole lot from right here in Phoenix, Arizona. We do have a couple pieces, but Phoenix isn't super well represented here. But this is one of the exceptions. This is a fire truck from Phoenix, and this is a fire truck that goes way back as fire trucks go. It's a beautiful truck. It was built in 1921, believe it or not, by Seagrave. And Seagrave, of course, is one of our favorite things here, is one of the great manufacturers of fire trucks. We have a bunch of Seagraves here. But this, I believe, may be the oldest, at least of the actual trucks. Maybe this 1921 Seagrave, which was sold to the Phoenix, Arizona Fire Department. And here's how far back it goes. They bought this for Station 4, which was at 4th Avenue and Moreland here in Phoenix. And at that time, it was only the 4th fire truck that Phoenix's fire department had. They only had 3 other fire trucks when they added this one. But it's a good one. This one had a pump that could get you about 1,000 gallons of water a minute. Never a bad thing. And it has some other interesting aspects. For instance, it was pointed out to me that it's a chain drive fire truck, so it kind of runs almost like on a big bicycle chain. And back here you can see the drum, the brake drum, is actually not inside the wheel, it's outside and in front of the wheel, and it actually sort of serves to stop the chain when you brake the vehicle, but they didn't put it inside. So it's got a kind of if you look at it from a distance, it looks like a kind of a classic fire truck. But when you look at it closely, you realize that it comes from very much a different era of auto manufacturing. And this truck was in service with Phoenix until about 1949. Then it was sold at auction, and it ended up going to an auto dealer in New Mexico. And he sold it to a guy in Albuquerque who had it for years, but kind of let it get run down to the point eventually where he was told by the city, you got to get this off the street. So somehow or another, it just ended up out in the desert, just, getting abused by the elements. That's not actually all that uncommon for old fire trucks. Everybody loves them, but where are you going to put them, right? So sometimes they end up out in a field or something, just getting rained on, getting the sand from the desert blasted into them, whatever it is. The museum's founder, George Getz Jr., discovered this truck in Taos, New Mexico, just in the desert, and looked into it and found out the ownership and ended up acquiring it for the Hall of Flame Museum. And then, of course, it had to be restored. Obviously, this isn't the condition it was in when they found it out in the desert there. So it had to be very carefully restored. And our great restorer, Don Hale, he got it back into this condition, and he did this with very, very little in the way of a photographic record. There didn't seem to be any photographic evidence of it. There was kind of a blurry picture that was taken in the 30s of this truck. It got a little bit of a restoration in the 30s by Phoenix, but if you look as closely as you can at the picture only picture that Don had to work with, he really did a fantastic job of getting this back into something like its original glory. So again, it's one of the trucks, and you see we have a driver up there for it, and you can see how interesting he finds my little lectures on the history of these pieces. But we keep him up there to sort of keep an eye on this because we're very, very fond of this beautiful Seagrave from Phoenix. Really glad you stopped by and let me share it with you. And as always, if you like these little segments that we do, subscribe to our channel, of course, like them, share them, get them out there among your friends and family. And of course, stop back by often because we're always trying to add new good stuff here at the Hall of Flame Museum. I'm Mark Moorhead. Bye-bye.